Well, have you ever lost sleep at night because you are worried that you won't get enough sleep? It's a common problem some sleep experts are noticing, and we've got a sleep expert, Andrew Holmes, here to tell us more about the phenomenon known as orthosomnia. And I am fascinated by sleep and have been over the last decade or so. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
This is one that's really new because we have so much data now that allows you to track your sleep, but it can now have a negative effect. So what exactly is orthosomnia?
So I think start off by saying it's crazy that we've got over 100 different types of sleep disorders that have now been kind of recognized. Some of them go back quite, since the inception of the actual field itself. Some of them are relatively new due to different trends that are emerging. So the etymology of the word, first of all, orthosomnia, ortho, the prefix, means to straighten, essentially, in the medical community. So orthodontics, straighten out the teeth. Somnia, straighten out your sleep. By definition, orthosomnia is the inability to fall asleep and or stay asleep due to fear and anxiety of achieving optimal sleep, often exacerbated by tracking devices. So the irony is like dripping from the bedroom walls here. People are like obsessing over getting an optimal sleep and that highest sleep score. And in doing so, they're actually creating a disorder in itself.
And it's funny that you say that because we were talking right before you came on that I was subject to that because I had these sleep trackers and then I was going, oh, I didn't get as much REM sleep as I did the night before, but I have to train the next day. And then you start obsessing with it and then you go, okay, well, if I get to bed now, I get 4 hours. And then if I get to bed now, it's 3 hours and 52 minutes. So it's kind of wild. And I've used Garmin's, Apple Watches, Whoops, Oura Rings. How accurate are those sleep tracking devices?
That's it. Once upon a time we said get all the tech out of the bedroom, no blue light, no screens, nothing like that. Now all the tech's coming back in, all the biometrics are there. So there are many devices, as you said, the Oura Ring, the Apple Watch. I would look at it this way. The night-by-night variability is not something you want to focus on. I would look at the overall trend of your sleep. Look at what it says over a week period or maybe a month period. Basically, what they're looking to do is to establish the difference between when you're awake and when you're asleep, but also those stages of sleep as well. So the night-by-night variability only has about a 75% accuracy rate, whereas the overall trend of the week, because each night is so different, you're looking more like an 80%. But I would be, more focused on best sleep practices rather than digging in, because what it can do is, again, become this negative feedback loop, right? You're constantly obsessing over it. So for the accuracy, I would say about 75% on determining whether or not you're awake versus asleep, and maybe a little bit less than that, determining which sleep stage you're actually in, which is essentially REM sleep versus non-REM. So you're going a little bit deeper other than just am I awake or am I asleep? It's those sleep stages, that deep sleep versus your REM that it's looking at as well.
Got it. I think that's super important too because there's different stages. I remember I used to get like a monthly report, which is a little bit more accurate, but if you go day by day, you're just going to be going through a whirlwind. Signs that you might be struggling within your sleep.
So I think maybe the first one is like, are you reaching for that sleep score as soon as you wake up in the morning? Is it the first thing you grab for? Are you feeling stress and anxiety about your score when you wake up in the morning? Is the watch or the app itself kind of dictating and determining how you feel? Are you basing how you're going to feel and your energy levels throughout the course of the day based on what the app is telling you? Or are you actually listening to your body itself? The last one may be, are you making massive changes to your overall sleep routine? What it's actually doing is causing people to spend more time in bed because they're trying to increase that sleep score, when in fact what they're doing is decreasing their sleep efficiency, which is the total time in bed divided by the total time sleeping. So those would be the kind of symptoms I would look for. And if you're obsessing over and it's becoming this negative feedback loop where it's doing more harm than good, as we said before, too much of anything can be a bad situation.
Definitely, and I can't let you go quite yet. I want to talk about some tips that we can do about it.
Right. So I would say first thing, if you're going to continue to use it, incrementally make those changes, right? We don't want to wean you off immediately because maybe you won't be successful. I would say maybe waiting until noon to look at what your sleep score was the night before. What I should be saying here and pushing as a sleep specialist and consultant is getting back to basics, going back to those fundamental sleep hygiene techniques. There's no substitute for natural sleep. So looking at the sleep hygiene techniques such as going to bed at the same time, getting up at the same time, exposing yourself to as much daylight as you can, because that brings balance to your sleep-wake cycle and your circadian rhythm, which is going to allow you to fall asleep easier in the night and sleep and get better durations. Exercising, of course, is a big piece of it. The more we exercise, the deeper stages of sleep we get into and the more difficult to arouse from. So really going back to basics. Again, it's great to have these biometrics. Certain pieces of data are fantastic. fantastic. You know, your step counter, making sure you get your 10,000 steps in a day. Some of them can be very positive, but again, having too much data in the bedroom, we don't really want it to turn into negative.
Yeah, you don't want to go over the meter where you just start stressing about it and then you go backwards. Andrew, we really appreciate your time. Where can people find more information about what you're covering?
Sleepefficiency.ca is our website. People can check out that. There's lots of information. We also offer home-based sleep tests where people can get tested in the comfort of their bed and do a much deeper dive than what the sleep trackers can actually do.
Appreciate that. Thanks so much for your time today,
Thank you.
Andrew.